Hey everybody, Jay here. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the MK1 from Roman Props and specifically the install that I did on this, making use of the crystal chamber from Rudy, Pando and Dimitri Shock's custom chassis. So if you're not familiar with the MK1, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi's hilt from A New Hope. It is kind of regarded as being the most accurate version of that hilt that you can get. This is the FX version, meaning it's designed to be installed. There is a static version which more replicates the actual real parts that the saber was originally made of, including the rod inside of it with the washers that held everything together. From a just general collector's standpoint, this is probably number 2 on my list of my favorite hilts, next to the Graflex, and specifically probably the New Hope Graflex, Luke's original saber. This was just a perfect example of the really cool prop design that was done during that time. These guys were amazing artists. So very creative, going into literally just digging through boxes of parts and putting things together to come up with what we now view as these iconic weapons, ships, costumes, and this is a perfect example of that. The original prop had parts from a World War I British rifle grenade, a balance pipe from a Rolls-Royce jet engine, booster section from a machine gun, a sync knob, obviously the Graflex clamp on there. You have these little transistor greeblies on there, the Exactra bubble card strip, same thing that they did on the New Hope saber. And putting that all together and kind of coming up and creating this is just a true testament to the creativity of those prop departments. So I was really excited to get this hilt in. It'd been a while before I got all the parts in. I was actually able to install it. So this kind of sat just static and empty on my shelf for a number of months until Rudy finished up his run with the crystal chambers. So I finally got around to getting this thing installed. Just finished it up this weekend, and I couldn't be more completely blown away with it. This particular install is a little bit more rare of a hilt, definitely. I have also gone and upgraded the crystal chamber beyond what you normally get. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. So the specs on this thing, I've got a RGB LED in here with royal blue for the blue, which is my preferred way of doing it. I think most people go that route just so you can get some very accurate blue mixes in there. This has the Plectro Labs Prizm 5.1 soundboard, an 18500 lithium-ion battery in here, rated for about 2,000 milliamps an hour. Has a Saber Essentials 2-watt 4-ohm stealth speaker in here, 28 millimeter, so it's nice and loud. Even though, as you can see, there's no visible sound venting on this, but even though there isn't, it's not quite as muffled as you might expect. If you've had any familiarity with some of the true replicas, like Graflex replicas or vintage, they can be a little bit muffled if you don't kind of drill some hidden sound holes in there. This doesn't quite suffer from that as bad. It's on par with some of the hilts that I have that actually have true sound venting in the pommel. This thing's wired for undercard activation and auxiliary. One of the cool things about this is the first time I've used this particular setup, is Dimitri designed the switch holder that goes underneath here with these pins that actually it meets right in the chassis. So there's no actual wires going up, and this is the first time I've used something like that. Most of my undercard switches get wired with actual wires going up to them. So it's kind of a neat feature. You can actually pull it out of there if you need to and take the clamp off. It does require some extremely tight wiring to pull that off, which was frankly pretty difficult. Took me a couple tries to get it right, but I was once I had it, I was very impressed with the end result. So let's go ahead and fire it up and give you a little taste. Yeah.
The Force will be with you, always.
So what I like about this hilt is it does come with this shine-through blade plug on there, which kind of more accurately replicates what you see on screen. And it's not it's not an aftermarket piece that you have to go and buy separately like you have to with so many other sabers. So that's the boot up and activation there. You see I've got it on a nice blue color there to try and more or less mimic the blue on the blade that you'd see in A New Hope. The real beauty of this thing is this right here. Hopefully you can see this nice on camera. This is the crystal chamber, and this isn't just a crystal chamber that gets inserted. This is this actually additional pieces that make up this hilt in general. So when you get this, you actually, where the clamp goes, this is what comes from Roman. This is the clamp cage, and this fits right in here and holds the booster and the grenade on there, and the clamp just goes around this. This gets replaced with Rudy's crystal chamber, and there's kind of a different sort of clamp that goes in here that becomes an extension of this crystal chamber, which then goes up into here, and this grenade screws on. So this thing's really sturdy. This is not just a 3D printed crystal chamber or a part of a 3D printed chassis. I mean, this is actually functionally a part of this saber now. I have upgraded this, as you can see on there. I've also added in 3D printed in brass inserts and swapped out the synthetic crystal for a true quartz crystal. See if we can. Oh, hold on a second. I'm actually going to take the bubble card off there. It's just a little bit easier to get it to activate without the card once the chamber's open. But as you can see, hopefully this isn't drowning out too much on camera. But I mean, there's just exquisitely fine detail in here. Again, it's 3D printed in brass. It's just gorgeous. For the briefest moment of time, I thought about weathering it, but I decided to leave it kind of as is, because just that shiny brass that's in there is just it's just a wonder to look at. Typical of Prizm, you got your aux effects. Of course, this is RGB, so we could cycle through any one of the 16 color presets on the Prizm. All in all, if you're looking for an Obi-Wan Kenobi hilt to put into your collection, there's a few options out there. The only thing that comes close to the MK1 from Roman would be probably the Corband K4. It at least does a pretty darn good job of replicating most of the big accuracy points on there, but there's still a few things that are off. The pommel, the sink knob pommel's a little big. The grenade, it's not quite perfect. This thing, when you look at it in person, you could very easily see this sitting behind a glass display case, somewhere, on an official Star Wars display. It's just completely gorgeous. I can't say enough about it. The hilt itself isn't horribly rare. You can still buy them from Roman. This particular configuration, though, I've only seen a handful of these installs get posted up. So I'm happy to say that I'm, one of the lucky few to actually own one of these and have it in my collection. Even if you aren't able to get Rudy's crystal chamber and you want that just kind of perfect Obi-Wan saber, I mean, you just can't do any better than this thing. This is the crown jewel of my collection right now, and I can't stop playing with it. I don't even think I've looked at one of my Graflexes in a few days since I built this thing, which is pretty rare for me. anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments section. Look me up on Facebook. Like the page, Jas-Ot Sabers, Jay Otterstein. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. And hopefully I'll be doing another cool review or public service announcement video again sometime soon. Thanks.